Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SC-Talk und ich habe heute eine neue Firma bei mir, Jericho Energy Ventures, wobei nicht ganz neu. Ich kenne die Firma eigentlich schon, wie sie vorher geheißen, nämlich da hat es Jericho Oil geheißen. Das ist 4, 5 Jahre aus und Sie wissen ja, Öl ist ein bisschen ein Problem. Und die Company hat sich total neu ausgerichtet und ich habe, wenn ich ehrlich bin, nicht wirklich eine Ahnung, was die Firma jetzt momentan macht. Aber ich hoffe, ich werde bald erleuchtet werden, was die Firma Neues macht. Denn sie ist natürlich in einem sehr interessanten Business drinnen, nämlich alles, was Wasserstoff auch betrifft, Renewables und so on und so on und so on. Und da bin ich echt schon gespannt, was sie uns Neues vorstellt. Brian, thank you for your time. And I said in my German introduction, I have not too much clue about your company, but I know your company or the previous company since 4, 5 years. But there was in the oil business was Jericho Oil, and you rename now the company to Jericho Energy Ventures, and you are going from oil business to more renewable or a new strategy, I must say. So, what was the reason? Maybe you can say it in a few words. Was the reason why you changed it from oil? Everybody can understand why you're going back from oil to the new ones. But what was the reason why you're going from oil to the new renewables?
Thank you for having me, Joe. So, as you stated, we have been focused on being an oil company for almost 6 years. And from what we could see is while we think very highly of and we think there is a need for oil, we also realize that after 6 years seeing very little interest from the public market, we needed to expand our focus as a company to be a broader based energy company. And so the thought process was to focus in on opportunities and areas where there was little clean energy traffic. So what we focused in on after almost a year of research and the engaging of deep technical talent to assist us, we moved Jericho from Jericho Oil to Jericho Energy Ventures to focus on hydrogen. Mm-hmm. So we believe hydrogen will be one of the biggest winners in the transition from a carbon-based world to a clean energy-based world. Mm-hmm. We like a lot of things about hydrogen: its abundance, its energy value, and the fact that it has been used in various forms and fashions for the last 30 years in quite a few scenarios. So it's not new to the energy world. It's not new to the industrial world. It's just that we think it has great potential to be a clean fuel and to be a big part of our go forward clean strategy. So for us, the idea was to become an energy company that had a focus on hydrogen. Mm-hmm. And we will focus our company on the whole hydrogen value chain. And so what we're focused on after diligencing over 100 private hydrogen companies are those with really special technology that is looking for the commercial world. And we think that between our management team, directors, and our just outstanding shareholder base, we have the ability to help these world-class technologies get to the commercial market in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when I see your stock price, you do something right.
So the market has responded very favorably. So we are very pleased with the market response. I think that we're still one of the most undervalued hydrogen companies out there. And I think that as people understand and see and dig into our strategy, they're going to see that there's so much more to do here, right? So the hydrogen world is focused for the most part on transportation. Mm-hmm. Fuel cells, electrolyzers, trucks, transport, all focus on delivering hydrogen to solve the carbon problem in the transportation world. We decided to focus on the industrial and commercial world. Mm-hmm. Because what we realized is that there's been very little attention paid to the carbon footprint in the industrial processes and the commercial heating and cooling side of the world. we've just taken it for granted. And what you start to realize is that steam is one of our biggest problems, right? So at the end of the day, 38% of the greenhouse gas emissions actually come from steam. And right now, the only solutions out there focused on cleaning up that steam are electric boilers, biomass boilers, both of which are thermally really inefficient. And now our solution, which is thermally efficient, cost competitive, and 100% green. So we think it's a game changer. We think that the industrial and commercial world is looking for this step change because they're making big dollar value investment decisions in their equipment. And this is one that will really help reduce their carbon footprint for a long time to come.
So going a little bit deeper, I think in January you acquired a company.
We did.
So this is the technology hub, I must say, or the technology partner, or that they have all this the stuff what you need that you can execute your strategy. So, but really, what the company doing? What do this company?
So what we bought and what they did and what they do, because they're part of Jericho now, is they redesign the boiler, right? So boilers are used in power plants, in food, in beverages, in chemical and petrochemicals and cement, just wide range. Also in heating, hot water, all those things. So what they did is they took a boiler system and they reinvented it because the founder, Ed Stockton, was a 30-year power plant guy. So he built and commissioned power plants for Florida Power and Light for 30 years and saw the emissions that came from all the boilers that he put in. So what he did was he redesigned it. So the secret to what he did is the fact that it's now a closed loop system. So we have changed where the reaction happens. By using pure hydrogen and pure oxygen, we create a superheated chemical reaction, which makes superheated steam. And that steam is used for whatever the industrial commercial purpose is, but the steam is pure. There's no emissions because the reaction that's created comes from just hydrogen and oxygen. So there is no carbon-based fuel. There is no infrared heat emitting reaction that needs to be released, right? It's a thermal hydrogen and oxygen. When they react in our system, it's thermally condensing. So because it's thermally condensing, there's no pressure, there's no expansion, there's nothing to release. So the whole system is a closed loop, and anything that is made, or there's only two things that made, you have the hydrogen and you have the steam and you have condensate. The hydrogen is then the steam is used for the output, and the condensate is recycled into the system. So that is the difference, right? Our system has no emission. And because we capture all the heat value, it's thermally more efficient than anything else that's out there that's hydrocarbon-based solution.
So, but from the idea to production or to revenue is quite a way. So how are you in the process? Do you have already prototypes running? Do you have some?
So we do have one. So
okay.
Joe, we have one out in Modesto, California. And I think that one of the greatest things that Ed Stockton, who is the founder and our chief technology officer, did is he partnered with the union. Right, so he had all of the steam fitters and boiler folks in California work with him so that they were trained on our system. Because each boiler that's installed in California, the fourth biggest, largest market in the world, requires a union-based steam pipe fitter team to do it. So having them trained makes it a lot easier to put ours in. So we do have one working and running there, and we are happy to have anybody come out and do a whistle blow test so they can see it being made. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot of exciting things that come out of a boiler other than steam. So now we are moving from that unit to building out our commercial client base. So we are actively now taking inbound order inquiries, and we have been drinking from a fire hose literally for the last 30 days since acquisition. We've had 39 megawatts of boiler inquiries, which nominally translates into over $25 million of serious revenue inquiries in just 1 month. So we are ecstatic because we don't even have marketing or sales presence out there yet. So those things are all getting up and running. So we can't even imagine what that'll look like as we start to tell people about our story. So been a great first month. Obviously lots of work to do, and we're in the process of selecting manufacturers now.
But when you say, you get a lot of orders in, so that means also you must produce these boilers. So do you have already a facility you can produce that? And how much you can produce, and what this mean in dollar values?
So great question, Joe. So we are actually rethinking our production strategy because of COVID. One of the industrial problems with COVID is the supply chain has been disrupted in a lot of different spots. So what we're going to do is have OEMs in Europe, in the US, and in probably Australia. We're working on the third one, so that we aren't stranded in terms of moving our boilers and our systems across the globe. And that way we think we'll have better capabilities to deliver things locally, because one of the things we keep seeing is travel is restrictive, and that we hope that lifts soon, but we don't want to wait to get our boilers to market with that as our goal. So we want to be able to have it installed and then built and then installed within that region. So travel is a lot easier inside the EU than it is when you start to try and come back and forth through North America.
Okay, when you work with OEMs, can you say some names first? And second is, do you have some patents on it, so that normally when you work with OEMs, you need this intellectual properties staked before you go to them?
Right. So we are actively interviewing manufacturers now. We have not picked them yet. Mm-hmm. We are interviewing who they will be, and we will announce once we select who our manufacturing partners are going to be. Mm-hmm. Just making sure that everything is, and we are also making sure that we are comfortable with them manufacturing our product from a quality control and also from a patent protection perspective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. This means this is the bread and butter product what you have. Is it right? This is the first product,
this is the first product. So our first product is our hydrogen boiler, which is looking at a $38 billion market. Mm-hmm. So obviously, being the only hydrogen solution in a $38 billion market, we are very excited to hit the ground and get out there quickly and show the world what we have. We will be aggressive, and we will be proactive in demonstrating to the world what our technology is capable of there. But we are actually looking at the hydrogen value chain a little broader. So what we're also actively studying, after spending a year diligencing 100 companies, we want to be in the hydrogen production part of the equation as well. Mm-hmm. So you'll eventually see that in our value proposition is we will have a hydrogen production. We have focused in on where we can find the game-changing production technology. There's a lot of electrolyzers out there. There's a lot of great folks working on electrolyzers and a lot of money being spent, and probably won't be what you see us doing. We're looking at some things that are step change in terms of generating hydrogen from green energy sources right now. So we think that's the coming future, is green hydrogen, generating that hydrogen from renewable energy sources. So that will be the other piece of our agenda, is adding a hydrogen generation solution to the value chain.
We in Europe have sometimes, or in the summer, every day, the problem that on the daytime we have too much energy. So that's the price of the energy going to zero, or sometimes under zero. And in the afternoon, then the price of the energy is rising. Then the sun and so on is not producing too much in the night.
So that's the beauty of hydrogen, Joe.
So that also can use it as a kind of storage system that you say, okay, we have now a surplus on the energy, we produce now hydrogen, and then in the afternoon we maybe burn it down and produce energy to support the grid.
So outstanding point. Hydrogen is, in our opinion, one of the best fuels from a time shifting perspective. So to allow you to generate that power at a time when the price on the grid is negative, store all that excess power, and then deliver it back to the grid when there is no renewables in that late afternoon, early evening hour when you're seeing peak demand. So we think that is one of the highest uses of hydrogen, and something that we think will be a bigger and bigger part of the market, and something that we want to be a part of as well, because we think that really does change the ability to build out renewable portfolios, because now you're storing that renewable energy in a usable fashion.
One problem I was have with hydrogen is that everybody talks about hydrogen in the car industry and in industrial use and so on, but sometimes I think not the question that we not have enough hydrogen, and this is not the case, but to produce hydrogen you need also a lot of energy. So and maybe we're running in the kind of shortage of hydrogen, and maybe the price of hydrogen is going up.
I think it's a problem. I think you are looking at one of the bigger bottlenecks, right? Is the idea that we have access to unlimited amount of green hydrogen. We don't. The ability to produce hydrogen with carbon-based, energy sources has been around forever, but the idea of producing it through green energy sources, not so much. Excuse me. Sorry. So I think you do bring up one of the critical bottlenecks is that the production side needs to get greener, but it's going to cost to get there. We think eventually the cost will come down, but I think that when you make the transition from gray to green, there's an inherent cost. But also the question becomes, is that really a fair cost representation? Because on the other side, you don't have, the carbon-based solution is effectively not being charged for the amount of carbon they're putting in the air.
Okay, understandable. You're coming up and you screen a lot of companies in the last year, you say. Do you think that maybe you're coming up with other acquisition?
We hope so. That's our goal.
Okay.
We're very active. We are actively evaluating other acquisition opportunities. Obviously don't have the ability to say when and what those will be, but we are actively looking for other things in the hydrogen value chain to add to our portfolio.
Okay, perfect. But it's still around the hydrogen.
Correct. It is still around hydrogen. Hydrogen production, hydrogen storage, and time shifting of energy.
Yeah. Okay. So hydrogen, absolutely the focus. But this brings me then to the other point on the side step. You're coming up from this Jericho oil stuff. What are you doing with all this oil project? What you have?
So our oil assets are self-sustaining, particularly now that we have a better oil price. And we have a full complement of operating folks, engineers, geologists, operations managers that look after all the oil and gas assets every day. So we will continue to cash flow those assets, particularly now that we have a better price. We like everything about them. We don't see any reason to sell them in a market that isn't going to ascribe value to them. So what you'll see from us is we will probably keep those unless something shows up that makes it worthwhile to divest them. But we have no reason to sell them at a loss or at a discount because there's...
Absolutely. Makes absolutely sense. But the focus, the future is hydrogen.
It is, Joe.
So, okay, coming back again to the boiler. And you say you have an unbelievable first month, and without any selling, you get a lot of orders, influence, and so on. But what do you really exactly plan for these next 12 months?
So the next 12 months, we expect to have deployed at least 3 to 5 boilers. And to have, the goal for us would be in 2022 to have somewhere around $100 million of orders in. Don't think we'll have all those boilers built and delivered, but I do expect to have those orders in 2022. And so for us, we expect to have manufacturing partners in the different parts of the world. We expect to have boilers commercially deployed in different parts of the world. And we expect to continue to focus on growing out our green steam.
Okay, that's interesting. So but one of my last question before you come to the shareholder structure is what we really can expect from the company on news releases, the 3 major news releases maybe in the next 6 months. What can this be?
So the 3 major news releases I'm hopeful for in the next 6 months is we've added to our hydrogen production. We've added a hydrogen production company to our mix. We have signed a manufacturing partner, and we're manufacturing our first boilers. And we have signed a sales agreement for those boilers that we're delivering.
Okay.
Those are the 3 focuses.
Perfect. Come to the shareholder structure. How many shares are outstanding? Are the biggest group and so on? I see on the last slide of your presentation already you have 179 million shares outstanding. And you have also a lot of warrants, 49 million. What is the price, the exercise price of these warrants? Do you know this?
Yes. So we do have 179 million shares outstanding. Our warrants are 13 Canadian cents.
Okay. So they're all well into the money?
They're all well in the money. So what has been historically been a real strength of our company has been that we have had 5 large families that have supported us pretty much since the beginning. And each of those families, when they've exercised warrants, has not sold stock to exercise the warrant.
Okay.
They have just made additional investment into Jericho. So these families have been really supportive of us, and they're just great family offices. I mean, you have the Graves family, you have the Hegna family. Both of those are U.S.-based families. You have the Breen family. The patriarch is Ed Breen, and he's the CEO and chairman of DuPont. Just sage advice and just an outstanding investor and thought leader for us. You have the Bellsberg family, one of the wealthiest in Canada, now headed up by Strauss Zelnick, who is the chairman of CBS. So, just a really, fantastic roster of families that have supported us since the beginning.
And these families, or these closer families, how many shares have they around, so that we can say what is really
I would say around. Yeah, so I would say around. So I would say that in 5 or 6 families, you're looking at probably 70% of our stock is held.
Wow.
So your free float is fairly tight.
Okay, that's important information then. 180 million shares is not so a small number when you have but a large own packaged group there is invested, then it looks totally different. Brian, thank you for the first update, first introduction to your company. And it would be a great pleasure for me when we can talk maybe in 3-4 months when you're coming up with new your press releases, maybe some new acquisitions and so on, and then we can talk how the strategy looks now and how you come forward. So that would be great.
Great, and I look forward to it, Joe. And hopefully when we talk the next time, our stock is even higher. We would look forward to that.
But I must say, you have unbelievable stock performance. So you're coming from 15 cents and going up to 110 today. So it's
sure. It's good. It's good.
It's a 10 bagger. It's close to 10 bagger. But it's very impressive performance.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. Ja, das war eine erste Einführung zu Jericho. Ich habe es ja schon gesagt, ich kenne Jericho jetzt seit 5, 6 Jahren. Damals waren sie rein im Ölbusiness. Jetzt haben sie aber den Strategiewechsel vollzogen, weil sie gesagt haben, sie bringen eigentlich für ihr ganzes Öl so gut, egal wie gut sie es managen, sie kriegen keinen Wert. Also müssen sie irgendwas tun, das interessant ist, damit sie halt einfach, dass sie halt einfach auch ein Reward bekommen, denn ihr Job ist eigentlich Shareholder Value zu kreieren. Wie haben sie das gemacht? Was ist das Wichtigste daraus? Ist eigentlich Wasserstoff. Wasserstoff kennen wir, jeder will irgendwas mit Wasserstoff tun, ist jetzt auch ein großer Hype. Sie haben in den letzten Jahren viele Firmen analysiert, sie wollen allerdings nicht eigentlich in das, wo alle reingehen, nämlich eigentlich in die Transportindustrie, sondern sie wollen eigentlich die industrielle Seite sich anschauen. Und vom CO2-Emission ist sehr, sehr viel auch auf der industriellen Seite, vor allem auch Hitze produzieren, also Energie zu produzieren, auch in jedem chemischen Prozess auch, wo Hitze benötigt wird, also es gibt sehr viele chemische Prozesse, fast jeder, der auch Hitze benötigt, das wollen sie mit CO2 machen. Und sie haben da jetzt eine super Company auch übernommen und haben im ersten Monat zig Orders schon reinbekommen, war unglaublich, also das übersteigt das nicht übersteigt, war jetzt zu falsch ausgedrückt, aber sie sind überrascht, wie stark das auch akzeptiert worden ist. Er hat auch gesagt, wie dieser Herstellungsprozess oder wie es gegangen ist. Also sie haben dort einen Veteranen quasi gehabt, der lange Zeit diese Boilers ungefähr verkauft hat und er hat gesagt, was da Emission gemacht ist, war eigentlich sehr viel Emission, was da rauskommt und er wollte einfach einen geschlossenen Kreislauf bilden, der eigentlich nur mit Wasserstoff und Sauerstoff funktioniert. Und wenn man weiß, dass man Wasserstoff und Sauerstoff zusammen verbrennt, erstens mal brennt es natürlich extrem heiß, entsteht auf der einen Seite natürlich sehr Hitze und das kann natürlich auch in Dampf umgewandelt werden. Und auf der anderen Seite hast du das Kondensat, das ist allerdings reines Wasser. Also nicht wirklich etwas, das belastet und da ist kein CO2 dabei, nichts. So also reines Wasserstoff und Sauerstoff ergibt im Prinzip, wenn du verbrennst, dann nachher H2O und halt sehr viel Hitze. Und das macht dann den Dampf und das ist natürlich CO2-neutral und mit diesem geschlossenen Kreislauf haben sie natürlich da schon eine sehr, sehr große Asset herinnen. Und wie gesagt, die Nachfrage war extrem groß. Was interessant war, sie haben gesagt, erstens mal, sie schauen natürlich noch weitere Übernahmen. Sie haben im letzten Jahr ja mehr als 100 Firmen gescreent. Er möchte gerne was in der CO2-Produktion reinnehmen, und zwar grüne CO2-Produktion. Was auch interessant ist, habe ich gesagt, wie wollen sie es produzieren? Die ganzen Orders müssen ja auch produziert werden, die ganzen Boilers müssen produziert werden. Sie haben jetzt ein bisschen durch Covid ein Umdenken gehabt. Früher war es geplant, dass eigentlich US produziert. Jetzt überlegen sie schon, verschiedene Seiten zu machen. Sie screenen jetzt auch gerade den Markt, sprechen mit OEMs, was wiederum bedeutet, dass sie Patente drauf haben müssen, weil sonst würde der OEM eigentlich an das Know-how klauen. Ist auch klar. Und da sprechen sie vor allem auch Europa, USA und aber auch möglicherweise in Australien unten, sodass sie den Markt gut abdecken können und durch diese ganzen Restricted, das müssen wir schon mal weg, mit den ganzen Restriktionen, was sie haben, dass sie halt also dass sie nicht rundum fliegen können, müssen sie halt eigentlich schauen, dass sie es lokal produzieren. Der Chart hat eine Wahnsinns-Performance hingelegt, also wir haben jetzt 800% zugelegt in die ersten 2 Monate, bringt uns zur Share Structure. Share Structure ist 180 Millionen Aktien sind draußen, allerdings gibt es 5, 6 Familien, die daran so ungefähr 70% der Aktien halten. Die Warrants werden großteils auch von diesen Familien gehalten, so habe ich zumindest verstanden, und es war im Prinzip so, dass diese Familien dieses nicht ausgeübt haben. Also die haben sie ausgeübt, aber nicht verkauft am Markt. Das ist das große Problem, was wir immer mit Warrants haben, dass sie ausgeübt werden und die Aktien am Markt verkauft werden und dadurch kommt Druck auf die Aktie. Wahnsinns-Performance. Nur was machen sie mit ihren Ölfeldern, die sie haben? Ja, sie lassen es weiter produzieren. dieser Cashflow, was reinkommt. Und warum sie uns den Cashflow nicht nehmen? Denn sie kriegen für diese Produktion quasi keinen Wert, wenn sie es verkaufen würden. Also macht es auch keinen Sinn, dass wir es verkaufen, wie wir es lieber jemand nur auch nützen. Vollkommen nachvollziehbar, passt eigentlich. Ja, ich habe jetzt mit ihm ein Interview in 2-3 Monaten wieder ausgemacht, wenn es möglicherweise Informationen gibt über das, was vielleicht Firma akquiriert haben und so weiter. Und ja, schauen wir mal, was da dementsprechend rauskommt. Das war's von mir, von Brian und von Jericho Energy Ventures am 11. März 2011. So, tschüss und bye, pfiat euch. Brian, thank you for the interview. It was really a great one, and thank you for your time.
Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye bye.
Have a good day.
You
Take
too.
care now.
Thank you. Bye bye.